there's an accident on the freeway that has your body in just 12 days. It's your effort. Just call now and we'll ship you our That's right. Two massive explosions just wellness in our park. Well, guess what? Also wasting levels of which is not nothing.
There are 3 suspects now, no one seems to have predicted this, so it's hard to know where it's heading. Chances are that if that
It's time to take back control of your mind so that you can take back your life. What controls your attention controls your life.
For an ambitious entrepreneur, this is your time of greatest opportunity.
The national economy, what's going on in world affairs, does not have to become your personal reality. Let others lead small lives, but not you. Have it be said of you that you did the best you could with what you had. Now is the time to do something different. No matter what your past has been, you have a spotless future. I'm telling you, the beliefs that you have about your potential, the beliefs of what you can and can't do, what you're good at and not good at, are made up. My challenge to you is this. Make now your turning point. This moment. What you have accomplished so far is only a fraction of what's truly possible for you. You are far more powerful, capable, and gifted than you allow yourself to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, publisher of Success Magazine, Darren Hardy.
Thank y'all. Wow. That is feeling the love. I guess everybody's had their verve bold this morning, right? Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Well, it is always such a delight to be with my friends here at VEMMA. This is such an extraordinary organization, and so I'm delighted to be invited back each time. And so I have been brought here, hired to do something very, very specific, and that is to teach you how to lead a revolution. So what is it that is going to allow you to rise up and carry the torch and be the lead crusader for this new revolution? And so because I get a chance as publisher of Success Magazine to study the economic landscape, what's going on in the development of entrepreneurship, what is it going to take with the future economy for those to find their way of great abundance and prosperity, I wanted to come back and give you what are those essential skills that you're going to need to develop in order to really, truly lead this revolution. So when I look at the forward of the 21st century, there's 2 sides to the story. There's bad news and there's good news. Did I hit the bad news and good news? So I want to give you both sides so that you're fully aware of what it is that we're going into. What do you want to hear first, the good news or the bad news? Bad news. All right, let's clear the bad news out of the way. This keeps going blank on me here, even though I'm only hitting the next button. All right, let's start with bad news. Or am I just seeing it go blank here? It's definitely going blank. So here's the bad news. You want, yeah. Oh, no, I'm hitting the green button. I promise you. Yeah. This is what we're seeing constantly bombarding our news channels on an ongoing and regular basis, is all this negative, sensational news. And the reality is that a lot of this is bad news. We currently, and this is just last month's statistics, have 7.7% unemployment. Now, here's what that means, because those statistics can, not mean much. But that means that 12 million families are without an income source in order to feed and provide for their families. That, if you calculate it to the way that the economic statistics were done during the Depression, equals Depression-era statistics. Now, when we advance a little bit further here, long-term unemployment, that means these are people who have been unemployed for 27 months or more, 2 years without a job. There's 4.8 million families without that kind of economic support. And this does not include, this is the stats that have been taken out of the current economic statistics, 2.6 million people are what are called marginally attached. That means they wanted a job, but they're so discouraged that they haven't looked in the last 4 weeks, so they take them out of the statistics. It also doesn't include the 885,000 discouraged workers that are so discouraged that they're not even looking for a job anymore. They've lost complete hope. And this also doesn't include those that are underemployed. They have a job, but it's well below their skill set, well below their previous forms of employment. There's 8 million families that are economically underemployed. And now here's a very scary statistic as we look forward to the future. Those people that went to college, maybe spent $100,000 or $200,000 investing in their education, got a degree, more than half of college graduates right now cannot find a job, no matter whether they send 50, 100, or 300 resumes out. And 27% of them, those that did find a job, are working in jobs under their academic degree. And the median income for those that have a job is $27,000 a year. Now, I just heard Bryce here, who came on the stage before us, is making that a month. Brad, what is it, like every 5 days is making the equivalent of that amount. And here's what you don't know. These jobs that have been lost, they're not coming back because companies have found a way to do a lot more with less. They've outsourced overseas and they have started using contract workers. So this is what is seen like in the history where, the dinosaurs became extinct. These big giant beasts all of a sudden were wiped out from the planet. A lot of us can assume, well, that's bad news, right? I mean, when an entire animal species goes extinct, that's bad news. Well, it's not bad news for the smaller animals of the kingdom. Now, all of a sudden, those smaller animals can rise up and take the crown and be the new kings of the kingdom. Same thing's happening here economically. We once were in an industrial age where a few elites at the top of ivory towers that controlled access to technology, access to resources, access to capital, and access to the marketplace, whether it was TV, television, radio, or shelf space. That model has died. And as a result of it, it is the smaller animals of the kingdom, it is the independent sole proprietor that is rising up and now taking the crown as the future wealth controllers of the future. So this is what is a reality, that a revolution is taking place economically, societally. We've gone from an industrial age society to what I call a connected society. So now instead of the few industrialists controlling the wealth, it is those that can connect the best and most efficiently that will be the ones that will control and own wealth of the future. We are undergoing a massive transference of wealth. And in the process, we're seeing a lot of these economic statistics taking place. But all those is the crumbling of a previous era moving to the future of a new era. And the redistribution of wealth looks like this. In the 1900s, there were only 5,000 millionaires worldwide. Then as you progressed through 2000, it went from 5,000 to 100,000 to 1 million, then it doubled, and then it tripled. And by 2000, most people thought that they missed their chance for wealth. That was the dot-com bust, and it was 9/11, and we went into this economic tsunami sort of a thing, and people thought, I lost my chance. If I wasn't wealthy by then, the economic future is going to be nothing but bad going forward. Well, the reality is by 2010, we had 10 million. It had multiplied even further, and here's the future. By 2020, it's expected that we will double the number of millionaires worldwide. We are undergoing a massive expansion of wealth. It is just being transferred from a few to a many. And so each one of you sitting in that chair have a chance to be part of this statistic. You have a chance to be the new millionaires of the future. How many people want to be one of the new millionaires of the future? Here. All right. Brad, why did you raise your hand? You're already there, brother. The only way in which to capture the opportunity of this revolution is, I'm going to boil it down to one key essential skill. And now let me tell you why this skill is so crucial, because here are some of the other dynamic factors taking place. The speed of change is accelerating. You either keep up or you're going to be left behind. Let me give you some of the realities of what's taking place around us with technology, knowledge, globalization, and the demographic majority. This is Ray Kurzweil, who wrote the essay, The Law of Accelerating Returns. He says that in the 21st century, we won't experience 100 years of progress, which would be the equivalent of a century's worth of progress. In the 21st century, we will experience, by comparison, 20,000 years of progress. That's how fast speed of technology is changing. This is the former CEO of Google. He says, if you took all the knowledge ever accumulated in all of human history and you added it all up by 2003, we are creating the equivalent amount of information and knowledge every single day. Every single day, we are recreating the entire volume of all of humans' history's information. Globalization, now the competition for talent, resources, or marketplace is no longer local. You're not competing with the local chamber of commerce. You're not competing with the business down the street. You're competing with every 18-year-old in a second bedroom or a basement of any dwelling anywhere in the world is now part of your competitive set. And the demographics, obviously represented right here in this organization. The millennial generation, those born in the 80s and 90s, is the largest to enter the workforce ever in all of human history. They'll be half of the workforce in 4 years, and by 2020, they will hold the majority of leadership positions, whether you like it or not. And we will have 5 generations. This is the first time this has ever happened in human history. 5 generations working in the workforce at the same time. So the challenges that pose is incredible. The opportunity for those to figure out how to lead in that scenario is awesome. Also, we crossed a new milestone in U.S. history last year. There are more women working in the workforce than men. The flip side of that is that there are more stay-at-home dads than any time in history. It has doubled the past year. 1 out of every 5 families. So what is it? What is it that you think is the key skill to lead a revolution given all these dynamic things that are taking place in our world and in our marketplace? What's the one skill to navigate through this that you're going to need to develop in order to capture the opportunity? It is to become a 21st century leader, because leadership has changed as a result of all these dynamic changes that have taken place in our world and in our marketplace. And so the leadership skills of yesteryear no longer apply to the dynamic marketplace that we're engaged in right now. And so if you want to capture the opportunity of the present, you have to redevelop your skills as a leader. And so that's what I'm here to do, is to show you what are the core character attributes that you need in order to be a 21st century leader. What are the skills, the very few specific skills that you're going to want to master, and then what's the vision that you need to have in order to be a 21st century leader. So let's first talk about character. Let's build you as the 21st century leader. What character traits do you need to develop? First thing you need to know is that this is not your daddy's leadership. So if you are a daddy, the leadership skills that you've developed to this point are extinct. They died with the dinosaurs. If you only know leadership by having watched your daddy, that skill set is something of change as well. So let me explain. It's no longer about financial capital. The leadership in building a business used to be about how you control and allocate financial capital. That's no longer the key skill. It is now human capital. How do you allocate and lead human capital? It's no longer about economic competence. You don't go and get your MBA, you charts and stats and P&L statements and bank balances and balance sheets, that's no longer the key competency. Now it is emotional intelligence. It's no longer about controls. Usually businesses are set up with controls, with people doing rigid tasks with narrow functions. It's no longer about control. It's now about collaboration. It's no longer about hierarchies, top down, where you've got these pyramid of structures. It's now about networks, leading through networks. And it's no longer about developing followers. Leadership used to be about developing followers. The 21st century, it is about developing leaders. So let me give you the game-changing mindset shift that you're going to need to make in order to become a 21st century leader. Here's what a leader is not in the 21st century: a boss or a manager. If you walk into the 21st century acting like a boss or a manager, you will lose in the current and future economy. A boss, see, tells you what to do. And everyone hates a boss. The reason why they're here, the reason why the economic landscape is so unstable is because everybody wants to get away from a boss. A manager, they try to incentivize you. Oh, we'll give you this little token or this gift card or, that's what a manager does. Tries to incentivize you to do the thing they want you to do. And managers are weenies. Here's what a leader does. A leader models the behavior to be done. That's the difference between a boss and a manager, is a leader models the behavior to be done. They do it themselves first. What do you want your people to do? Just do it yourself first. This is what I love about Brad and Bethany, Tom and Bethany and Brad, is when BK's calling out those that are not here, they're right here in the front row taking notes. Tom's taking pictures of the screens. He's learning more than anybody else. All you have to do behind Tom and Bethany is just watch them, and you'll know what it is to be a great leader, because they do it themselves first. They lead by example. Now, you've heard this 1,000 times. Lead by example. It is the most basic but the most violated principle of leadership. I could end the entire training on leadership right here. Whatever you want somebody else to do, just do it yourself first. Just model the behavior you want everybody else to adapt. One of the great leaders of history put it this way, Winston Churchill: I no longer listen to what people say, I just watch what they do. Behavior never lies. Don't listen to people, just watch them. And a boss and a manager, they prod from behind. They say, but a leader pulls from up front. Let me give you an example. Dwight D. Eisenhower, before D-Day, was trying to organize all the generals from all the different countries together, and they were whining and complaining, and they were talking about what their strategy was going to be to drive their armies. And he pulled out a piece of string, and he said, "Gentlemen, an army's like this piece of string here. If you push it from behind, it will double up on itself. Just like this string, you need to pull your armies from the front. You need to be the first one in the battle. That's how you lead an army." See, a boss and a manager says, "Hey, you go. You go." Where a leader says, "Hey, let's go. Let's do it together." Leaders set the pace. The speed of your organization is going to be entirely dictated upon the speed of you. See, here's the reality that you'll come to as a wise leader. People don't go as fast as they can. They don't do as much as they can. They don't work as hard as they can. I know that that's baffling, but here's what they do. They go as fast as the leader, because they will watch you, and they will take all their cues based on watching you set the pace. A boss and a manager helps people see themselves as they are. 360 review. Here's where you're weak. Here's where I need you to improve. That's a boss and a manager. A leader helps people see themselves better than they are. Here's what's possible. If we get together and we work hard, here's what's possible for you and your family and your potential. Brian Chasey put it this way: leadership is the ability to get extraordinary achievement from ordinary people. That's going to be your task in the 21st century. You're going to enroll a lot of very ordinary people to start. And it's going to be your leadership challenge to have these ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. And you've seen the stories come across this stage where people who began very ordinary have achieved extraordinary things, and as a result have become extraordinary people. See, it's easy to be a boss and a manager. That's what you can learn in school. You can go get a degree on being a boss and being a manager. But it's difficult to be a leader because it takes real skill and character, and it's not something that you can learn in school. So Groucho Marx put it this way: only one man in 1,000 is a leader of men. The other 999 follow women, which I think is a pretty good clue all unto itself. If your primary prospect target is not women, it's going to be tough for you to keep up. By the way, I'm obviously rushing through a lot of this very fast. If you just want to get a complete download of all these slides, all these quotes, I've got worksheets for you. I've got videos that go along with this as well. Simply just do this. Take that phone number, 623-223-7795, and in the body of the message, just put your name and email address. And then it will email you the whole slide deck, and there's some extra resources that I've packaged for you here as well. Is that helpful? Okay. If you didn't write it down, it's going to be in the corner here. So I want to also attack some of these objections that I hear people make when it comes to rising up and being a courageous leader. Nobody will follow me. How can I be a leader if nobody will follow me? Well, let's attack that. Here's how to get the people you want, prospecting. Here's how to get the people you want to do what you want. I mean, wouldn't that solve all your problems in life if you could just go get the people you want and you can get them to do what you want? I'm going to solve that problem for you. Here we go. There's two questions that need to be addressed in order to solve this equation. The first one is to know what you want. What attributes do you want in a brand new brand partner? If you could design the ideal brand partner recruit for you, what attributes would you want in them? Give me some attributes that you would want. Passionate, persistent, bold, honest, desire. Is that what you said, Bethany? Reliable, hardworking, consistent. Okay. So here's what I want you to do as a homework assignment. Make a long list. Seriously, if you don't know what it is that you want, you'll never find it. Get clear about the attributes that you want in the people that you want. So that's number one. And I've got a worksheet for you here because I want you to boil all these attributes down to a top 12. I want you to design the ideal recruit and 12 of the key attributes. Of all the attributes in the world, what are the 12 most important to you? Okay? Very key point. We're going to talk about how to get the people you want to do what you want. So that's number one. Here's the second key question. And this one is the most important question. Do you have and demonstrate those attributes? Are you passionate? Are you consistent? Are you hardworking? Are you honest? Are you loyal? Are you all the things that you want in somebody else? Because the only way you're going to get the people who have those attributes is to possess those attributes yourself. So on the worksheet, what I have you do is on a scale of 1 to 10, you've got your attributes on the left, scale of 1 to 10. Are you a 1 to 10 on that attribute? Oh, I'm a 4 here, or I'm an 8 here, I'm a 6 here. And then I want you to take the attributes where you're weak and go to work on personally developing that attribute. And go to work on constantly demonstrating that attribute. That's going to change those people that are attracted to you and want to follow you into this business and be a part of your revolution. So let me just boil it down to one key question. This is a great question, and I want you to live with this question from this point forward, okay? Let's say that I want to get into VEMMA. I'm a prospect. And I walk into this room, and I don't know anybody's titles. I don't know anybody's reputation. I just sit at the back of the room, and I watch. And I look. And I could pick anybody in this room to be my sponsor. Anybody. I get to pick. The question is, would I pick you to be my sponsor? And if you're like, well, I'm not really sure, or definitely not, what would it take for you to show up in a way, to interact in a way, to have the energy, to have the magnetism, to have the passion that would be obvious. Of course, I would want to pick you to be sponsored by. See, when I look at this front row, I can tell why these guys are successful. Because immediately, I would go right here because there's something about them that makes them an attractive person to want to be in business with. So the question is would you want to be sponsored by you? And if I were a prospect, would I want to sign up with you because you are, in fact, the greatest leader in the room for me to make as a choice? Jim Rohn put it this way: if you want to be a leader who attracts quality people, the key is to become a quality person, because like attracts like. So here's another objection. I don't know what to do. I want to be a leader, but I just don't know what to do. All right. I'm not going to handle this one. I'm going to draw on one of the legends within the direct selling industry to tell it to you like it is. So I've organized what is the number one action leaders can take. So if you just have to focus on one thing, so you're perplexed about what to do, and I'm going to boil it down to if you just do this one thing, all will take care of itself. So I'm going to ask Art Williams, who was a former high school football coach. In other words, he had no qualifications to be a successful leader, okay? He had no training to be a great leader, but he was in a direct selling business just like this, and he built an organization of 225,000 who produced $93.5 billion in revenue. And he boils down the key action a leader needs to take to two words. Let me have him give it to you.
Do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to be somebody they're proud of. We need leaders in America who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to go in business for yourself, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk in these United States. Everybody can talk a good game. We need people in America who can do it. I go all over this country with A.L. Williams, and I have people say, Art, you can count on me. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee you this is my last stop. I'm going to win now. Super duper. Just do it. Art, if I could just have one good month and get the ball going, I know I could make it big. Super. Just do it. Art, if I could just pay off this debt, I could really go. Great. Just do it. Art, if I could just sell my house. Do it. But houses ain't selling. Do it anyway. Art, I'm not making any money. What can I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, I guarantee I'm going to win this contest. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm over the hump now. Watch my smoke. Great. Just do it. Art, I want to make it so bad I can taste it. What I do? You just do it. Art, I'm a vice president now. Can I quit doing it? Nope. Art, I don't know if I can keep on keeping on. I'm really hurting. What I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, all my life I wanted to be somebody important. Well, what do it then? Art, I'm going to save money so I don't have to go through this again. Great. Just do it. Art, I don't feel like I've had enough training. What I do? You just do it. Art, my manager don't give me no help. What I do? You just do it. Art, you don't understand. I was Mr. Everything at my former company. You don't mean I have to start off down here at the bottom and do it, do you? Yep, you really got to do it. Art, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to finally have achieved something unique, and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else, and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of and make a difference with their life. Thank you.
So what do? Do it. Right, Brad? It's all right. Just do it. All right, so let's talk about the skills you need. Now that we've developed your character so that you are attractive, people want to beat a path to your door, they want to follow you in this great revolution, let's talk about the skills you need, because you need specific skills as a 21st century leader. Let me boil it down to the most essential. Recruiting. You need to become a great recruiter. Period, the bottom line. You need to get great at recruiting. There's no way around it. I don't like recruiting. Recruiting, I'm scared to recruit. Here's the deal. You're going to have to get over it. Everybody recruits. Everybody recruits. You don't get anywhere in life without recruiting. The military recruits. Colleges recruit. Sports teams recruit. Charities recruit. Religions recruit. Corporations recruit. And now you recruit. Because here's why. It comes down to this. The best businesses have what? Best products and services? No. There's a lot of crap out there that are leading the marketplace. The best businesses simply just have the best people, period. If you want a high-performing business, you need to recruit and retain high-performing people. It just comes down as simple as that. One great person can outperform 100 good people. It doesn't take very many. One good person. Imagine recruiting Michelle Barnes. Imagine recruiting Brad. Imagine recruiting Matt Moore. Imagine recruiting just one of them. One can set you free. So that's why you want to get really great at this recruiting skill. Now let me save you tons of headache and heartache. I'm telling you, I've lived in your chair. I've built a direct selling organization with 100,000 representatives. So I know what it's like to do what you do very fundamentally on the street. Let me save you tons of headache and heartache right now. Great people are not trained. They're found. Let me tell you when I learned this. I had a chance to have lunch with the chairman of Marriott. And I'd stayed in his property the night before. And the first thing I said to him when I met him is I said, wow, your staff is so friendly. Everybody here is so friendly. I said, what do you do to train your people to be so friendly? He said, oh, we don't train our people to be friendly. We just hire friendly people. I thought, wow, that's called a clue. So you want to recruit those that already have the character and the attributes and the discipline that you want to have them exemplify in your business. Here's what people are looking for. So let me just give you a roadmap for kind of what's going on in the minds of your prospects. Here's what they're out in the world looking for so that you can order your recruiting script appropriately. Number one is they want to be with great people. Why do people join Google, Apple, Facebook? Because that's where the other great people are working. People are more attracted to working with great people. And this comes out of Brad Smart's top grading book. All the research of academia and all of history has been compiled. These are the top 5 things that people are looking for when looking for a new opportunity. Number 1, they want to be around great people. Number 2, they want a challenge, something that excites them, something that stimulates them. Number 3, they want an opportunity. They want to know that there's upside, that they can grow into something. And then 4, they want to know that there's personal growth. Who am I going to become here? I'm going to spend my days, most of my life force doing this. Am I going to grow as a person? And then number 5, they're looking for money. The interesting thing is that 5 is money. Not 1, not 3, 5. So the question to ask yourself is, how does your recruiting script read? Potentially backwards? The first thing you should be talking about are the amazing people that are a part of this organization. That this is a team of winners. These are a team that are passionate, that you're crusading for a cause, that you're starting a new revolution. Your whole recruiting script should be around your people and the opportunity to be around, meet, and get to know and live a life with the great people that are a part of this organization. Money comes down on the list. This has been a really key point for me when I go out recruiting for people in my organization. And I learned this from Steve Jobs. He says, when I hire somebody really senior, the competence is the ante, which means, of course they got to be smart. But the real issue for me is are they going to fall in love with Apple? Because if they fall in love with Apple, everything else takes care of itself. So when you're across the table from somebody else talking to them about VEMMA, what you need to assess is, do I think this person can fall in love with this organization? Do they have a heart for it? Can they feel the vibe? Can they come here and be part of this culture? Because I don't care how talented or skilled somebody is, if they don't fall in love with what it is that you've created here, they are not going to be a good recruit for you. Assess people's heart more than anything to determine whether you're going to give your heart back in the development of them in this business. So now you might say, but I don't know what to say. When I go out to recruiting, I just trip up on my words. I don't know what to say. Well, let me eliminate that one right here. Let me tell you the recruiting script to the greatest recruiter of all time. He's built the largest organization in all of humanity. His organization spans 2 billion people now. 2 billion people as part of his personal organization. Here was his recruiting script. You follow me. I mean, you got to admit, if you're a copywriter, that's a crappy script. I mean, it's not a very good script. The words don't matter. What mattered was the person behind the words. See, I love what Emerson says. You want to have this be exemplifying you. Who you are speaks so loud I can't hear a word you're saying. Because, see, it's not the words you use. It's who you are behind the words. That is the power behind the words that you speak. Now, I got some people in my life that if they said, you follow me, I will, no problem. No questions asked. I'm in. Matter of fact, the guy you're going to meet after me, Stuart Johnson, called me on the phone. And it was simply almost that kind of a script. You follow me. I've got this opportunity with this success enterprise. And I said, no problem. Now I've got some people in my life that no matter what they said, no matter what video they sent, no matter what audio they sent, no matter what magazine they sent, I'm not following them. No way, no how. It has nothing to do with the words or the tools. It has to do with the person behind the words or the tools. So the tip for you is focus more on the development of who you are behind the words you speak. That will make your recruiting script have power. Because we communicate with feelings, not words. When it comes right down to it, the words matter very little. The feeling behind the words is what matters. Let me give you an example. So let's say that you have to make a special delivery and your career depends on it. And you've got to get a signature, you've got to get to the front door, but there's a little yellow house, long walkway with a fence around it, and you walk up to the fence and you see this sign, beware of dog. And a shiver runs down your spine. You're like, okay, I don't know what's behind this gate. But you've got to get to the front door. So you creak open the front gate. You look around. You don't see. You see that the coast is clear. You walk in a few steps, and the door slams behind you. And out from the left corner of the house is the head of a giant Rottweiler. And you stun like this, and the dog comes charging at you. And you barely get your ankle out of the gate just before it about took your foot off. Now you're contemplating your options. I've got to get to the front door. What am I going to do now? And while you're contemplating your options, this little girl with blonde pigtails comes skipping up the walkway, licking a lollipop. She goes in the same gate, and the dog is licking her heels, wagging its tail all the way up to the front door. What's different? See, we humans, like dogs, communicate with feelings. The dog sensed your fear, and as a result of it, attacked. The dog sensed her joy, and as a result of it, wagged his tail and licked her heels. See, have you ever been talking to somebody and what they're saying sounds right, but you just know they're lying? Like, you just know you're lying. It's like, that really sounds right, but I just know you're lying. That's because we communicate with feelings, not words. So when you want to assess what it's going to take to convince somebody, you can't convince somebody of something you are not convinced of yourself, down in your soul, your real belief system. You cannot sell something you have not bought wholeheartedly yourself. If you're not engaged in every aspect of the products and services and culture that VEMMA has provided you, it's going to be very difficult for you to convince somebody else to engage in it as well. So let me give you the most attractive feeling you can work on developing in yourself. And it is this sense of passion. Let me tell you why. Jim Rohn taught me a very powerful lesson on persuasion and communication. He said, words are like that little straight pin. You know, you get a new shirt and they have all those little straight pins in it. You have to take all the straight pins before the shirt can come apart, right? He said, those are like words. And if somebody's 5 or 6 feet away, I could throw that little straight pin and it might bounce off your cheek and you'll feel a little bit, but not really. But if I take that little straight pin and I wire it to the end of an iron bar, I could take that straight pin and drive it through your heart. He said, the words are the straight pin, the emotion is the iron bar. And the only way you're ever going to penetrate somebody's heart is the iron bar of emotion as you speak your words. So let me attack this particular issue. I don't like to sell. Yeah, I mean, I really love this and I'm fired up, but I just don't like to sell. All right, here's the deal. Don't sell. Stop selling. Take this 4-letter word in your vocabulary and turn it to this 4-letter word, help. I learned this when I was in real estate. I sat down with a mentor of mine and we were talking about my goals, and he's like, well, let me see your prospect list. And at the top of my list, I had written hit list. And he said, well, there's your problem. Who the heck wants to be your next hit? When you're calling somebody on the phone and you're looking at your hit list, they can feel that. He said, why don't you cross that out and put the families I am about to help next. And when you get on the phone, speak from that position. And I'm telling you what, it changed everything. So instead of thinking about how I could get them as my next hit, I thought about how I could help their family. The pains, the frustrations, the worries, the desires that they had for their home, for their future, for their children, for the school district, what have you, resonated out of me, and as a result of it, it changed the dynamic on the other side. So stop selling and start helping people, and they will feel your desire to help. Focus on what you can do for them versus what they can do for you, and they will do almost anything for you. Of course, the great Zig Ziglar put it best. You can have everything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Stop selling, start helping. And then turn this word get. What can I get? You know, what can I achieve to give? What can I give? How can I give something to somebody else? And give what it is that you want. Whatever it is that you think you lack. Let's say you lack courage. Well, go around encouraging somebody else. Let's say you lack belief. Well, how can you infuse belief in somebody else? Let's say you lack love. How can you go around giving love to somebody else? You lack hope. How can you go and give hope to someone else? Because when you give it to somebody else, the fragrance of the flower you handed somebody else remains on your hand. And then turn this communicate. Okay, this is one of the things that you're going to have to take pretty seriously here with this YPR revolution. Communicating is awesome, but you need to connect. Communicate, yes, but also don't forget to connect. Because ultimately, face-to-face, heart-to-heart is how we're wired as humans. Regardless of the technology enabling communication devices, when it comes right down to it, we are still a biology of skin, bones, and heart. And the only way you're really ever going to connect somebody and transform them and rise them to the leader of your revolution is for your ability to connect with them. It's interesting, when I talk to some of the greatest achievers in the world, and I ask them, how many relationships, if you were to boil it all down, really mattered to getting you to where you are? And they all say, less than a dozen. Less than a dozen key relationships got them to the heights of Oprah or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or the rest of it. So it's worth taking the time to invest in those key relationships. Now, sorting and upgrading. Let me give you an advanced level leadership tip right here, okay? This is how, no matter where you're starting, who you know, who you don't know, how you can become a phenomenal leader in this organization. Here's the biggest mistake most people make. They work with the unwilling. The cost of working with the wrong person is 10 to 15 times your hourly rate. You can only care about those that care. When I was in this business, I wanted success for people way more than they wanted it for themselves. It's to the point where I was willing to pick them up, throw them on my back, and try to do the marathon with them on my back. And it almost killed me in the process. I learned how to transition this to, I will hold out my hand, but it is your responsibility to reach up and grab it. And if you will, we'll go arm in arm and take the journey together, but it's still incumbent upon you to reach up and grab it. Jim Rohn said, We must learn to work with those who deserve it, not just those that need it. Life responds to deserve, not need. Scare away the weak. This became one of my key success tips when I was building a field organization. Everybody had an opportunity to join. It was open to everybody. But then I wanted to scare away the weak. And my question for them was, well, why do I want to work with you? I'm not going to work with everybody. Just because you have graced me with your saying yes to this opportunity, my time is valuable because I'm building a revolution here. So answer the question, why do I want to work with you? Here's what it takes to work with me. I have these 10 core commitments. If you're willing to commit to these core commitments, I'll work with you like nobody has ever worked with you. I'll want for you intensely. I'll lay awake at night thinking about how I can help you. But you have to agree to these 10 core commitments. If you can't agree to these 10 core commitments, I'm out. I don't care if you just signed up. You can find your way on your own, but this is what it takes to work with me. Have that kind of criteria for yourself so that you know how to allocate yourself to the appropriate people. I encourage you to work with fewer people, deeper, and invest more time, more energy, more love into those that have stepped up and have deserved your leadership. Well, I don't know the right people. My list is too small. I'm too young. I just don't know the right people. Let me solve that for you. Here's what I call the art of networking. Your front line is just the doorway to the rest. We've all known that we're 6 degrees of separation from anybody on the planet. Well, because of LinkedIn and the rest of these services, we're 1 or 2 degrees away from everybody on the planet. So you need to look at everybody as just a doorway access to the people that you want. Let me show you how to convert 3s. Level 3 people to 10s. And I'm talking about not quality, economic status, title, the rest of this. I'm talking about commitment. I'm talking about those that are willing to do the work and have the character attributes necessary to become a great leader in this organization. So let's say that you recruit a 3, which is great. Now you're going to start working with the 3, and the 3 is going to recruit a 3, a 2 to be safe, and a 4. So now your only time and energy is being spent with the 4. You can't let the 3 train and work with the 4. It won't work. It's your job to jump down and start working with the 4. Now the 4 gets working. They have a safe one. They recruit a 3. They recruit another 4 and a 5. So now you forget the 3, forget the 4, jump down and start taking the 5 arm in arm, personally, yourself. Now the 5 starts recruiting people. They recruit another 5. They recruit a 6, a 7. A 7. It's your job to jump down there, arm in arm. We're going to do this mano a mano. We're going to help you become successful. The 7 recruits another 7, and an 8. You have an 8. Jump down, arm in arm, provide love. Doesn't matter where they're at in the organization. It's you and your 8. 8 gets started, recruits another 8, a 7, a 9. You've got a 9. You're on your way. You might just have found the next Matt Morrow. Keep working. The 9 brings another 9, brings another 9, a 10. A 10 is in the organization. Do not let your 9 or your 8 or your 7 or your 6 or your 5 or your 3 be the only support system to your 10. You personally jump down and just engulf them in love, support, passion, and energy to help them be successful. All you need to do is to do this 2, 3, 4 times, and you can retire financially abundant. That's all you need to do is to find somebody down there. But in order to get that 10, it's unlikely that many of you are starting out as a 10. It's unlikely. A 9 even, an 8. So you're going to have to use those that you bring in as doorways to find the people that you need that ultimately will take you in the direction that you want to go. Is that helpful? Doesn't matter where you're starting. It only matters where it is that you go. As Dave Ogilvy, the great advertising executive, said, if each of us recruits people who are smaller than we are, we shall become a company of dwarfs. But if each of us recruits people bigger than we are, we shall become an organization of giants. And that's what you're looking for. One person can make the difference to the entire speed of the group. One person can make the difference. I mean, you just drop in a Michelle Barnes in your organization, the rest of the organization is just going to fight to keep up. It's like when a cyclist breaks away from the peloton. Or like Usain Bolt, who set world records. What was funny is number 2 and number 3 set a world record too. Just trying to keep up with him. That's what you want to find. You want to find a lightning rod that you put in your organization. That's what's happened, to this organization. There's been a few lightning rods. Brad has become a lightning rod. The people that he's brought into the business, lightning rods. Now everybody else is more excited than they've ever been because a few lightning rods have hit the organization. That's what you want in yours. Let me talk about how to develop a team here. Where does it start? Where does it start in terms of your leadership development? Here's where it starts. With you. Take that sheet that I gave you. You can evaluate your existing team. Where do you go to work on helping them become greater leaders? Here's what you do. Take your 12 attributes and now rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, on consistency, is this person a 1 through 10? On attitude, on hardworking, where are they at? 1 through 10. Now you have a roadmap about how you can help them become the kind of person necessary to be the kind of leader that you're going to need them to be in order to crusade this revolution for you. So you can get that worksheet along with the slides. Here's a development game-changing mindset shift. Let me give it to you. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to get them to crusade as a leader. Here's what you do. Turn tell into show. You don't need to tell them anything. A great leader is not a great orator. A great leader is just a great example. So don't tell people to have guests at the meeting. Have guests at the meeting. Don't tell people to get on the conference call. Just get people on the conference call. Don't tell other people to make 3-way calls. You make 3-way calls. A lot of times with your new recruit would be awesome. Demonstrate what it is that you want them to do by doing it for another prospect with them. Don't tell people to be positive or to work hard. Just show them. Because here's the deal. People don't want to hear a sermon these days. They want to see one. Because your people will ultimately monkey see, monkey do. You are always training the people around you. Right now, Tom is training the rest of you about how to pay attention. You are always on stage at all times. When you walk down the hall, when you're at dinner tonight, when you're, going through the casino, people are watching you. And they will do as you do. How well do you pay attention? How many people do you bring to the meeting? So whatever you want your people to do, just demonstrate it yourself first. And turn talk into listen. A great leader is not a great talker. That's the mistake. That's the mistake people make. That's the industrial age leadership model. Now it is more about listening. Richard Branson said, if you are a good leader, you are a good listener. Make fewer statements and ask more questions. Draw people out. That's your job. Your job is to find the hopes, the dreams, and the desires of your people. And then align those desires and dreams with the direction that VEMMA is going. Align that meaning and purpose, and then help them achieve that. That does not require you to be an orator. It requires you to be an inquirer, to find and dig out their hopes, dreams, and promises. Align them with what it is that you're doing here, and then help them achieve them. That's the characteristic of a leader. Jim Rohn put it this way: learn to help people more than just their jobs. Learn to help people with their lives. And then recognize and reward. Here's the shift I want you to make. Instead of seeking praise, instead of seeking the stage, I want you to heap praise. Mary Kay put it this way: only one thing is more powerful than sex and money, and it is praise and recognition. People will work harder for praises than they will raises. People walk around with a sign around their neck that says, I need love. Just tell me I'm worthy. Just validate me. Just recognize that I am okay, that I am doing good. So as a leader, that's part of your job, is to just go around heaping praise on other people, taking the light off of you and putting it on other people. And lastly, the vision you need for a 21st century leader. So a guy gets started in a new organization, sits down with the sales manager, pulls out this portfolio, and shows them this picture. It says, see this house? 10,000 square feet. Italian marble, Venetian plaster, millions of dollars worth of artwork hanging on the walls. Behind it is a 9-hole executive golf course. On the side of it is a custom private vineyard. There's a fountain that's made in the middle, and surrounding it are all these beautiful exotic cars. And he says, if you work really hard, if you come in early, and you stay late, and you prospect hour after hour after hour, someday all of this will be mine. And that is the impression most leaders give those people that they're talking to. I want you to do this so that I get the rewards. It's the opposite. The 21st century leader looks at it in the opposite fashion. Measure yourself not by your rank and achievement. Do not set your goals. What rank or achievement do I want to have? Instead, ask yourself, who am I going to help rank achieve? Who am I going to help achieve? Do not measure yourself by your commission check. Instead, measure yourself by the commission check of those people that you are helping grow their financial futures. Do not measure yourself by your accomplishments or your dreams. Measure yourself by the accomplishments and the dream achievement of those people that work with you. That is the characteristic of a 21st century leader. Taking a little bit of a spin on the famous JFK quote, I would say, ask not what your people can do for you, ask what you can do for your people. And in the end, your success is dependent upon their success. So it only makes sense anyway to focus on their great achievement, particularly in a business like this. I want you to see 21st century leadership as a privilege, not as a task, not as a job, but as a privilege, because you are getting a chance to influence people's lives, transform their future. It is also a responsibility that needs to be taken seriously. When you come off that elevator, it's time to show up for people. See it as an opportunity. And most importantly, know that it is the highest reward. It is not the monetary fulfillment that you will get from it, not the lifestyle fulfillment that you will get from it. It is the soulful fulfillment that you will get from being a 21st century leader. So, many of you know my mentor is Mr. Jim Rohn. And when we're talking about leadership, we're talking about encouraging you to step up. We're doing this program, by the way. It's called Lessons of a Lifetime. It's all the questions you or I have ever wanted to ask him. Even though he's gone, we wrote a list of all the questions in all the categories, whether it be leadership or wealth building or persuasion and communication or how to live an extraordinary life. We wrote all the questions. And then we went back through his archival library of all the content he's ever created. And then we found the answer. And then we weaved it into an interactive dialogue between me and Jim, sort of taking you on a journey through these different... It's awesome. It's really, really incredible. But that's not what I want to show you. I found a piece when I was going through the research of that I really want to pass forward to you, because this could be a momentous day for you if you really embrace this challenge. And I want you to hear it in the words of Mr. Jim Rohn. So let me play this for you. Nope. You got the audio on, guys?
First question is one of the major questions of the world. Why? Why should you try? Why read that many books? Why go that far? Why earn that much? Why share that much? Why learn all that? Why get up that early? Why put yourself through that much? Why try for all that? Good question. Why? One of the best answers to why is the second question. Why not? What else are you going to do with your life? Why not see how many books you can read, how far you can go, how much you can earn, how many friends you can make, how much personality you can develop, influence you can have, how many things you can accomplish, how far you can go and what you can see? Why not? You got to stay here till you go. Why not? The third question is, why not you? Why not you? Some people have done the most incredible things with limited start. Why not you? Some people have done so well, they get to go, they get to see it all, they get to do it. They get to be there. They get to have it. They get to enjoy it. Why not you? Why not you watching the morning mist rise over the mountains of Scotland? Exploring the mysteries of Spain, soaking up history in London. Why not you? You got to take a stroll through the Palace of Versailles. Why not you? You got to have lunch in one of those neat little sidewalk cafes in Paris. I mean, Denny's is okay, but you got to try Paris. Someday you got to gaze directly at the Mona Lisa. I can show you where to find the most exquisite seashells in Miami and the Bahamas. I know where they are. Why not you? You got to shop on Fifth Avenue in New York. You got to stay at the Waldorf Astoria. Have dinner at Lou Chow's? Sliced roast goose on a bed of apple strudel. Why not you? You got to drink in an Arizona sunset. You got to see the world. You got to read the books. You've got to do the enterprises. You've got to be involved in commerce and love and travel and experiences. You got to do it all. Why not you? You've got to know the results that come from splendid discipline. There's nothing like a view from the top. And the last question is, why not now? Don't postpone your better future any longer. Get at it tomorrow with new vigor. Start to make changes, have conversations, make contact, and do it now. And if you will, I have a feeling one of these days we'll be hearing your story.
Why not you? And why not now? Some of the most extraordinary people you see in the world. Richard Branson started out middle class with dyslexia, started out with a rag student magazine. Tony Hawk was actually diagnosed with psychological problems and ADHD when he was a kid. Mehmet comes from an immigrant family from Turkey, born in Columbus, Ohio. Mark Cuban was fired from his first job as a software company. Susie Orman, father worked in a chicken farm. Her mother was a secretary. She's born on the wrong side of the tracks in Chicago. Steve Jobs was born to parents who gave him up for adoption. Colin Powell, immigrant family from Jamaica, was a solid C student, ended up becoming the great general that we know of today. All these people started out probably even less than where you're starting out today. Why not you? In the great words of Winnie the Pooh, you are braver than you believe, you are smarter than you seem, and stronger than you think. Don't be afraid to be amazing. Go create a revolution. Thank you all very much.